Hello and welcome to our teacher explanation video. At the end of this video, how long will you have been studying with our virtual English course? I'm sure you will have been paying close attention and will have learned a lot. Those are examples of the future perfect continuous and future perfect simple, which are the grammar topics for today's program. Let's start with the future perfect use. We usually use the future perfect to talk about an event that we predict or expect to happen or finish before a particular time in the future. For example, by the time Christine arrives, we'll have had dinner. Will have had or we will have had means that we will finish dinner before Christine gets back. We might be having dinner before she returns, or we might finish it an hour before, but in any case, we will finish before she arrives. In this case, we're using the future perfect to make a prediction about the future. Here are some examples. Sales will have increased by 5% by next January. By 2040, the city's population will have doubled. As well as for future plans and predictions, we can also use the future perfect to talk about what we believe or imagine has or hasn't happened at the moment of speaking, or in other words, to make educated guesses in the present about the past. Here are some examples. There's no point in calling Judy. She'll have left by now. If he's on schedule, Tom will have arrived in Bangkok yesterday. So we assume that Judy has already left, the film hasn't started, and Tom has arrived in Bangkok. Now we usually use a time phrase with the future perfect, often with by or in. Let's look at some examples with by. By the summer, I'll have finished all my exams. I'll have moved house by Christmas. So we have by next January, by 2020, by the summer, and by Christmas. We can also say by the winter, by the end of the week, by the next month or next year, by this time next week. In fact, you can pretty well use by with any future day, month, season, or special day. Another time expression with by we can use with the future perfect is by the time that, plus a subject and a verb. For instance, by the time Christine arrives, we'll have had dinner. When we use in for a time phrase with the future perfect, we can use it with a day, a month, a date, a time period. Here are some examples. In 40 years' time, sea levels will have risen by several centimeters. In July, I'll have been employed for 5 months. In 2040, I believe robots will have replaced sales assistants in shops. Now, to form the future perfect, we use subject plus will or want plus have and the past participle of the main verb. Subject plus I will want plus I've have a past participle. By the summer, I'll have finished all my exams. The film won't have started yet. Notice that we usually use short forms, so it's I'll, he'll, they'll, and so on, and will not become want. For questions, it's will or want plus subject plus have plus the past participle. Will, want plus subject plus have plus past participle. Will you have finished reading all the reports by this afternoon? So, to recap, we use the future perfect to predict events that will have happened before a particular time in the future and to make educated guesses about things happening around now and even in the past. And we usually use short forms. This time, next year, I have finished my course. And now for the future perfect continuous, in January, I'll have been studying for 3 years. Here, the action studying goes right up to the specified time and will probably continue afterwards. So, we use the future perfect continuous rather than the future perfect when we want to focus on the continuous nature of the activity and how long it will be going on for. We often use the future perfect continuous with for plus an amount of time. So, in the earlier example, we had for 3 years. Let's have some more examples of the future perfect continuous. Tomorrow, Al has been working here for 6 months. By the time the bus gets here, we'll have been waiting over an hour. Notice that the last example didn't have for, as we don't always have to include it. Now, as well as predicting future events and situations, we can also use the future perfect and future perfect continuous to say what we imagine might or might not have happened. They won't have arrived yet. They only left 20 minutes ago. Sam didn't come home last night. He'll have been working all night to finish his report. In the first example, we assume that they haven't arrived yet, based on the knowledge that they only left 20 minutes ago, and in the second example, we imagine that Sam has been working all night because he didn't come home last night. For the future perfect continuous, the time phrases sometimes begin with in or on. On Sunday, he'll have been traveling for 3 weeks. We often use when or by the time in time phrases with both tenses. Listen to these examples. When your train gets in, we'll have been waiting for over 2 hours. By the time you get home, the chicken will have been cooking for 2 hours. Notice that when and by the time are followed by a verb. This verb is in the present simple, not in the future. We form the future perfect continuous. Its subjects plus will or want plus have plus been plus the present participle. Subject plus I'll, will, want plus I have been. Present participle, the main verb in ing form. They won't have been watching the match as they are on holiday. Asking questions in future perfect continuous is more usually done with question tags, so the order is the same as for statements. We won't have been working all day, will he? Question words can also be used, in which case it's will plus subject plus have plus been plus present participle. Will, want plus subject plus have plus been plus present participle of main verb, ing form. What will they have been talking about? That's all for now. Please download the Grammar Bank file. You will find examples that help you to understand this topic.